le Président. It's a powerful presentation. A few questions to you, Chief. Have you been consulted on le tracé de l'appartement?
No. I was at a Trans-Canada the open house here in St. John 2 weeks or 2 years ago. In fact, Patrick was there, and I talked to Patrick, and I talked to some people. I think it was a guy from Calgary who was one of the reps, and he said he would get back to me, and we would be in conversation, but that never occurred. I've given them my personal emails and contacts, nothing back from them. Who they're dealing with is the Indian Act chiefs, and not to discredit who they are, but their only responsibility is in their communities. And as Grand Council, we represent all our lands, all the unceded territory that we see here.
Mr. Chair.
Can I say something first?
Yes. Can I say yes, grandmother?
Yes, you can. Thank you. The Indian Act applies only on the reserves. So, and within that Indian Act, it's the council. It's the majority of the council that are the decision makers. So therefore, the INAC chiefs are basically chairpersons. In fact, I think they vote within their own respective reserves. They're basically tiebreakers. So, our right under the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People is that we have the right to choose who speaks for us. And we have never been given that opportunity. And I can tell you now that the majority of our people have not been consulted. Now, in fact, consultation process, we were not involved even in the decision of what that is. I don't know who made the decision about the process for consultation. I don't know where that came from. It was just sort of dropped. As far as I know, our right is, consultation. The government is supposed to consult with its own citizens, its own members. Our right is free, prior, and informed consent. Until such time that there might be a settlement of the land or when unfinished business is taken care of. Our treaties are pre-Confederation treaties. And so there's much left undone. And you can't sit down with somebody from out west or somebody who belongs to a different nation of people and then apply it to us here. We have the right to be involved in the decisions, any decisions that are made that are going to impact on our future and our children and so on. That would be the fair thing to do. The United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People took 25 years to come up with that. And even in that process, a lot of our rights have been watered down already. So the United Nations Declaration ended up with something. It's better than nothing. And now Canada wants to come up with a Canadian version of what that's going to mean or interpret it without our participation and without our knowledge and without our consent. Is not fair. So that is the reason why it is imperative to us that you, and we ask you, the senators, to go back and get after the Liberal government to support Bill C-262, so that the United Nations Declaration, we can begin discussions and negotiations. Now, as far as the pipeline, you see the route there right through our territory, and that really concerns me because our territory is a watershed. Most of our territory is a complete watershed. And I was talking to a gentleman from Nebraska who fought the XL pipeline. And he told us that in the first year, there were 21 leaks. Brand new pipeline, 21 leaks. So it's not when, it's not if, it's when there's a leak. And with bitumen, it's a very, I understand that it's a very dangerous because it's so laced with chemicals. It's so laced with chemicals and very toxic that if it touches water, it evaporates into a very toxic gas. And they can't clean it because it sinks to the bottom and sticks to everything. And so, you know, you can just imagine. And what he told us was that it's the small leaks that are the most dangerous, not the big blowouts, but the small leaks because it'll leak for months and they might not even know. So there were a lot of, we educated ourselves a lot about the pipeline. We're very, very concerned. The health and well-being of my people doesn't depend on jobs, jobs, jobs at any cost. Sure, everybody wants jobs, but not at any cost. And our health and welfare depends on the health and welfare of the environment within our territory.
Mr. Chair, thank you, Chair. I have a few other questions, and I have to go back and just ask for our researchers and researchers from Parliament of Canada is, I would say they say it's the best in the G20 countries. And I just ask Chief Family, our researcher chair, to look at Bill C-262. So the process of Bill C-262, it's a private member's bill.
Yes, it is.
So by the fact that it is a private member's bill and democracy, you know, I don't want to go, I don't want to make an argument,
Yes.
but the fact of democracy, the Westminster democratic system is we can have a private member's bill in the House of Commons. So we have not received it yet because you asked, and Chair, I'd like to relay that to the Chief and Grandmother, that this is not yet in our chamber. But it is upon the instruction of the government agenda in the House of Commons to see where this and when this will be Bill C-262 part of and when it will come in to be debated and sent to committee. But I want to open this and, with a question, Mr. Chair, is you have an ally. Senators, we have an ally in the Senate presently, and his name is Senator Murray Sinclair. Senator Murray Sinclair is a new Canadian senator, of which former judge, First Nations lawyer, and was the chair of the Residential Schools Truth and Reconciliation Commission. And as a matter of fact, he is the first Aboriginal judge appointed in Manitoba. So I would, Mr. Chair, ask a question. Do you intend to bring this to the attention of Senator Sinclair in such a way that Senator Sinclair can talk to proper government leaders to redirect the agenda insofar that they could reconsider C-262, and that will then come to the Senate. I just wanted to clarify a bit what is the process of the legislative agenda and our democratic system. And I don't want to go with the comments you made because I know you have a lot of challenges when we look at the social side of our First Nation. And when you said, and I'll have the opportunity, believe you me, within, if the chair gives me permission, within the next 15 minutes, to ask that question to Mr. Patrick Lacroix, why he did not come back to you, and or if he has, if there is a representative of that company that works with First Nation, because it's incumbent that you be considered. That's my comment. So on this, do you intend to bring this to the attention of Senator Sinclair?
Yes, we do. And thank you for reminding me that he holds such a great position now. And I met him once, and he was such a dynamic speaker and so on. That's why I met him. And I've been to the United Nations this last 3 years to watch what's going on worldwide to all Indigenous people. And it's, all these resource developments across the world are forcing their ways through Indigenous lands, murdering Indigenous men, young boys, for the sake of resource development. And a lot of companies come from Canada. And that's a sad thing to swallow, that how Canada marvels at its human rights, what they're doing in back in the scene. And I was born at night, but my mother said, you weren't born last night.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Senator Marco. Senator Walker.
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur le Président. Je vais vous laisser, grand chef chance to have a translation. Madame Brooks, it's okay for you?
Yeah,
Madame Brooks, bienvenue. Merci beaucoup.
Yes.
yes, I do.
Monsieur Tremblay, grand chef, est-ce que la traduction est maintenant atteignée channel 1? Alors, merci beaucoup aussi d'être là. J'ai quelques questions. La première question, j'essaie de comprendre votre position par rapport au projet. Est-ce que votre position, c'est un refus ferme ou est-ce que votre refus est conditionnel?
Where we sit in this position is that if there's, we know that there's no 100% guarantee that there'll be malfunctions through this pipeline, and the and I remember as a little boy sitting standing next to the river with my grandfather. I was maybe 7 or 8 years old, and he looked down at the river, and he said, across there, I used to pick medicine. I used to pick this, I used to pick that. He told me in all in our language. He said, and then those damn dams came. He says, no, I cannot pick no medicine because of those dams. And that's when I became an environmentalist at the age of 6 because of my grandfather.
Mais vous savez, grand chef, que les cris d'Abbé James, les cris d'Abbé James sont très heureux des barrages.
Yeah. Well, it's just then. But for us, we have 6 dams up and down our rivers. And now we have no salmon, and salmon was our lifeline. So anyway, but there's no guarantee that these pipelines won't leak, and there's no and our land and our water has been damaged enough and it has to be stopped.
Et si vous mettez en perspective, l'utilisation du chemin de fer, qui lui représente des garanties encore moins fortes en termes de sécurité, parce que tous les scientifiques nous disent que le pipeline représente un niveau de sécurité d'à peu près 99,9%, ce qui n'est pas le cas des chemins de fer. Et aussi, lorsqu'on regarde la perspective que le transport du pétrole par chemin de fer va presque doubler d'ici 10 ans, on est comme devant un choix de problème. Le pipeline qui a un niveau de risque à peu près à 0,1%, et les chemins de fer, on l'a vu à Mégantic, l'accident majeur était vraiment... Donc, votre position de refus, est-ce qu'elle est liée strictement à la sécurité, tant au niveau phonique qu'au niveau des déversements, ou si elle est liée à d'autres événements? Et là, je vous rappellerai, en 2014, j'ai eu la chance de visiter les communautés nordiques, où on sait qu'il y a beaucoup de développement minier, beaucoup de développement au niveau des ressources naturelles. Et dans plusieurs de ces communautés-là,